With a still fast-growing population of 1.3 billion, India faces major challenges. The country's ecological foundation is under pressure due to unsustainable land practices, overgrazing and deforestation. Biodiversity loss, climate change and unpredictable weather patterns are decreasing agricultural resilience, resulting in declining yields. According to government data, nearly 30% of India's landmass, or about 97 million hectares, is degraded. That is an area about the size of Germany and France together. Landscape degradation is one of the root causes for poverty, felt strongest among farmers, rural and tribal people. But with sufficient time, science, the right practices and investments, degradation can be halted and reversed to landscape restoration and more regenerative land uses. In 2019, the Indian government announced at the UN Convention to Combat Desertification that it will restore 26 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. This will accelerate tree cover, soil health, conservation, and contribute to more sustainable agricultural production and better livelihoods for rural communities. The people in India still have a strong connection with nature. That might be one of the success factors for India's achievements on nature conservation. While many great initiatives are taking place in India, from NGOs, companies and government agencies, the question is how this stimulates rural regenerative economies and the ecological foundation of a landscape. Can investors be attracted? And how to use carbon finance for restoring entire landscapes. Will these regenerative businesses survive at a landscape scale? While a silver bullet is lacking, a common language and framework is needed to align people around a vision that works. In 2012, an operational landscape tool was developed by farmers, ecologists and entrepreneurs to turn degradation losses into inspirational social, natural and financial returns. 4 returns. Since then, it has been tested in several landscapes worldwide. In consultation with the Indian government, the Nature Conservancy, IKEA Foundation, Common Land and the local organisation Samarth, a large-scale restoration project in central India, in the state of Chhattisgarh, has started to use this 4 returns landscape tool. Chhattisgarh, one of India's most forested states, has forward-looking policies on forest management, farming, rural and tribal communities, conditions that are favourable for successful landscape restoration. Many peninsular rivers spring from the hills in northern Chhattisgarh and are lifelines for large parts of India. The many tribal communities that live in Chhattisgarh have been the forest guardians for centuries. Their knowledge of the forest is vital, as is the forest itself, for India's watersheds. It is of great value in restoring Chhattisgarh's landscapes. Successful landscape restoration is impossible without looking at market opportunities. Agroforestry and non-timber forest products, so-called NTFPs, can fulfil an important role for the rural regenerative economy. But who benefits from production and trade? And what does the value chain look like? How can tribal and rural people co-create a market with business that will sustain a landscape? In the project area in Chhattisgarh, this quest will be explored, step by step. This is, of course, not an easy task, but rural and tribal communities can benefit from this opportunity. A landscape approach means that processing can be done locally before selling on the market. Landscape restoration involves many stakeholders, like the forest department, tribal communities, rural farmers and business. Change has to flow bottom up, building on local knowledge and social structures, and focusing on the human dimension is key in this process that will take at least a generation. The goal is to awaken inspiration, identify all opportunities people and the wider landscape has to offer, and start to invest in change. Once a common long-term landscape vision is agreed upon, people start to move, start to take action. That is the ambition. With experienced partners such as Samarth, trusted relationships will be developed with rural communities. With drones, satellite images and good old craftsmanship, the landscape aspects will be mapped, like plots, soil, water and biodiversity, to get a good overview of where to plan landscape interventions and to identify certain plots for certain usage. Through zooming out and zooming in, people will get a grip on the challenges of what to do, where to protect and restore nature, where and what to produce in such a way that their children and grandchildren can flourish for generations to come. Please join us here in Chhattisgarh in the greatest work of our time.